Hello, it's Elaine from Inspired by My Angel, CLM. Today I thought I'd like to do a grapevine wreath with you, and I decided I'd like to try a patriotic with you. I got this adorable sign that just came in. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but it's like a little scene with a gate open. There's an American flag hanging and florals and pots and growing on a vine. And what was cute about this is it has a battery. And when you flip it on, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it. The light in the lamppost comes on. And I just think, so someone would just switch it. I just think that would be so adorable. So this is the sign. I've gone ahead and attached my pipe cleaners. I need to get this attached to the wreath. So this is my inspiration. I told you before, we always start with an inspiration piece. I made a bow, and this is the bow that I made. I do have ribbon that has stripes and stars, but I didn't want to compete with the flag that was there. So I just did a blue and white check, a red, which has a very faint check to it, and then this like gingham check in the red, white, and blue. So my thoughts are I would place the sign here and then come off this corner, and I would have my bow, and we'll have florals here and florals below. Okay, so that's my plan for today. I'll show you the florals that I want to use. Once I get the bow and the sign on, I'll put on my hanger. And these are some of the florals. I'm going to use these ferns for my greenery to establish my perimeter. We've talked about that in other videos, so we'll be using some of this. I've also got the white. It's this little, I think it's just a berry that we'll use to fill in with. My focal is going to be these red geraniums. I've also got some white daisies. And then for our blue, I've got these pretty berries. So that'll be our red, white, and blue with our light up sign. So that's what I'll be using. But we'll start off with our greenery first. And let me just introduce myself a little bit better. My name is Elaine. I'm owner and creator at Inspired by My Angel, CLM. My journey began in September of 2020 when I made my first wreath. Since that first wreath, because I experienced so much joy in creating it, and now I've become passionate about wreath making. Since that time, I have joined 2 online design courses. One is with Julie Samaco's Wreath of the Month Club, and the other is with Kalia's Design School. I'm learning a tremendous amount, and the purpose for my doing the videos, not only to get my name out there, is to share with others and hopefully inspire you that you can do this. I had never made a wreath before, and I'm able to create. And my hope is that you will try making a wreath, and you'll find you can do it, and hopefully you will experience that joy in the process. So that's the reason for me doing the videos. Also, I watched many videos on YouTube on Facebook Lives. I began following. That's how I found Julie Samako and Kalia. Very experienced, talented, so thankful that they were willing to share their talents. I, being a beginner, just thought that I would offer those of you who are just starting or maybe have not started yet the perspective from someone new, and to show you that we can do this. So those are the reasons and why my videos are a little bit different, because I am so new at it. Like I said, I made my first wreath in September of 2020 after losing my job in August due to the COVID, and felt as though I need something to do. I wanted to put up a fall wreath. I didn't want to spend the money because I had just lost my job, watched videos, bought some supplies, said, let me give this a try. And here I am doing videos. I've opened an Etsy store online. I'm selling my wreaths, and maybe this is something that you'd like to try. So let's begin our wreath. First of all, what I need to do is just to cut off some of this greenery and get us ready. So I'm just going to clip those, and you just take them right here at the stem. I don't know the length that I'm going to need, so I'll just cut them long. So let me just get these cut off. What I've learned in design school, and it's not a rule, sometimes you do start with your florals or your largest pieces on your wreath. But what I have learned is to green, they call it greening the base. And what that is establishing the perimeter of your design, how far off your wreath base you want to come. And actually, as I'm thinking about this, I think what I need to do is place my sign on first. Get that positioned and my bow, and then I'll know better where I would put my greenery. So all I did was I stapled a pipe cleaner in each of the places that I felt it was going to touch the grapevine. And I'm thinking I'm going to have it at just, not that you have to turn your head sideways to look at it, but just at a slight angle. So then my bow will come off this corner. So let me see if I can do this while it's on my wreath stand, so you can see it. I'm just slipping my pipe cleaner through the grapevine. Like so. Give it a twist. Then I'll come to this opposite corner, because like I said, I want it to be just a very slight angle, just to create a little bit of interest instead of being straight up and down. I'm going to feed the pipe cleaners, not around the grapevine, but through the grapevine. I'm pulling it a little taut. I like that. I like the way my angle is coming. So I'm going to just move over here. I apologize if I get in your way. I'm limited on space, but I will move out of the way and show you what I've done if that should happen. Okay, so now I have attached that corner. And now I'm going to do slide it through. Do the same thing with this corner. Grabbing both ends. And giving my pipe cleaner a twist. And this one up top seems a little loose. I didn't really catch that well enough, so I'm going to go up a little bit higher in the grapevine. Go through. Just pull that up slightly, like that. And now twist that off. And I'll go back and cut those pipe cleaners later. Okay. See how I want that to hang. I think like that. It's a ever so slight of an angle. It's just that it's not straight. It's just a little bit. I like that. So now I'll take my bow. And what I did for my bow was I did 2 loops in the blue and white check on each side. I came back with the red and I did 1 loop so it would sit between. And then I came in and did 2 loops on each side with my check and just a loop in the center to cover the pipe cleaner, and I just left 2 tails. And this ribbon is a little on the thin side, so it's going to fray. So what I did was I folded it under. Oh, I forgot to glue this one. I folded that under twice, and then what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of my glue, and I'm just, not heavy because you don't want it to be lumpy. I'm just going to wipe that across my ribbon and then fold that down to keep that in place. I did it on the tails, but I guess I forgot to do it up here. So that's good. I can show you how you do that. So just a little bit, just to hold it in place. Get your glue strings out of the way and then fold that down on itself. And I did do that on the tails that I have hanging. It's just a thinner, sometimes you get ribbon and it is, you just know that it's going to ravel, and I don't want that to happen. So, okay, so let's get this on. So like I said, I want to come like this. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through, not around. Let me see if you can see that. I'm going through the grapevine, catching just a few of the branches, but enough so it'll be held secure. And then I'm going to attach my zip tie, tighten it up, sliding the bow up into the position I want. I don't want it to cover my sign, but I want it close. There. I made my bow loops at 6 inches on the blue, in case you want to try this. Then I came in with my red at 5.5. And then I came in with the blue and white red check, and I did that at 5. So I'd just like to get those positioned so they're sitting over the blue check. The red is out. This is up there. Just those tails sticking up in the air. Get this check over my blue. My red. Again, my check. and then just these little tails up in the air like that. Okay? And we'll cut the tails later if we need to, but I think these are going to be at a nice length. You just run your fingers on them and give them a little bit of a curl. Okay, so now I think we're where we need to be. So I'm going to clip the excess of my zip tie off now that we've got our bow secured. We're not covering the sign, but we are softening that one corner there. So let's go ahead with our greenery. So the other thing that I have learned since I've been taking the classes is you don't want to leave it just straight. You just want to give it just a little bend. It wouldn't be straight in nature. So that's what we're doing here. I've just bent that a little bit, giving it a little bit of movement. And then I'm going to decide how far. So I'm going to come across from the bow and place my first greenery in here. I'm going to come back in before I glue. I'm going to do the same thing. Just going to spread these open a little bit. Give it a little bend. Just trying to make it a little more realistic. And I've got one coming out there, so I'd like to have one coming out here. Maybe just a little bit further out. So that's got me, let's see, about how far off the wreath I am. From where it attaches at the wreath, about 10 inches. Okay, so what I'm going to do is dip my stem in some glue. I'm going to try to stay out of your way. And I'm going to come back in where I was before. And I'm going to go with the grain of the wood of the vine. And I'm just going to slide that in so that I'm making good contact with my grapevine. And bending these as I go. Lifting up at the base, so it's lifting away from the vine and just giving it some movement. One of the other things that I've learned when you first start is cover your mechanics. So I can see a little bit of glue here where I inserted that fern. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of my Spanish moss. I have it here behind me. And I'm just rolling it in a little ball, and while that glue is still warm, I'm just placing it and covering over the glue. And this also creates a nice sandwich, if you would, between the vine and the ferns, to hold more stability to the stem. Okay, so I like that, the way that's going to flow down. You see that? So now, before I go there, I'm going to go opposite this one and come up. I don't need it quite that long, so I'm going to just trim this a little bit. Give it a bend. Get that coming up right there. And then before we go too far, Once I've got a few pieces on, I'll put my hanger so we can see how it's going to lie. Again, I can see a little bit of my glue. So I'm just rolling this in a ball. And I'm just coming through to the base where I inserted that stem. And I'm just placing a little bit of that moss. Like that. I'll constantly be fluffing my bow because you crush it every time you're moving it out of the way. Just going to come over here a little bit closer as if it's coming from the bow. And place this one. Just giving it a bend like that. Can you see that? It's like a little L. I'm just going to insert that there. So it's just peeking out from the bow. Okay, let's come down here from behind the bow. I'm going to put it in with the grain, but then I can always bend it to the direction that I want. So let me get a little bit of glue. And I'm going to come right here behind the bow. Can you see that? And I'm just sliding that in. I'm going to get my moss. Cover my glue. And then I'm just going to bend this out. Trying to establish that perimeter. Okay? So we've got 3 pieces. And if you'll notice, they're somewhat creating a triangle. And that's what we want. Multiple triangles throughout the design. Get another piece of my greenery. And I'm going to want one to come over this way. So I'm going to come in here, sliding in, and then lifting it up. But I will put a little bit of moss on that. Right where that glue first made contact. Just a little dab more. Right here in the back. Just trying to get between the vines right there to the base. There, that's better. Okay, so I have that coming up, but forward. Okay, now I want to get one piece opposite that and come over below our bow. Okay, so what we're doing is establishing the perimeter of our design. Let's see how I would like this one. right out here. That'll be good. The other thing that I've learned in design school is to work in a back and forth motion. It just kind of keeps you a little more on track of your placement. It's not something that you need to do. It's just a helpful hint, if you would. Okay, that's nice. So we've got some greenery coming out here on the bottom. And you can see nothing is flat. It's coming away from the wreath. Okay, I can tell I need one more piece coming out in this direction. That one needs to be a little bit shorter. It's okay to have our length here, but once we start getting more to the side, we need to shorten that up just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this fern. So it was like this. I just cut it, so I've got two pieces. The bow acts as our central binding point, is what they call it, where everything comes together. This is the center. Or it's also called the transition. So with the transition, what we want to accomplish is anything from the transition point above the bow will go in this direction. Anything below the bow will go in that direction. Okay, so I'm going to put this piece in. Get a little bit of my moss. In. Once we get a few stems in there, we probably won't need to use as much moss. But while it's in the beginning, so now we've got another piece coming out here. So we've got one, I've put a small one, 2, 3 here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm wondering if this other small piece should come. My thought is just on the very corner of our sign, just to soften that a little bit. They call it breaking the plane. When you've got sharp angles, you break the plane. I need to just shorten this a little bit. And let's see where I want to place it. Because you have to concentrate where you want it to land and where you need to insert. So see, I want it to land here, but I need to insert up here. Like that. So that's a good spot. So I'm just going to hold my finger there. I know that's where I want to go. Just going to give it a little bend. And then we've accomplished what I wanted by just softening that edge a little. This one might be a little bit too long. I actually think it is. I'm going to snip this. I'm going to snip it down here where it joins with the other. Yeah. Bend that a little bit. we'll hold off on that. Okay. I think what I'd like to do is get my hanger on. So what I've done is I've cut a piece of, it's called binding wire. It's a metal wire that's covered in a fabric. So this is the way I want the wreath to hang. So I'm going to grab it right where the hook is so I know this is where I want it. And I'm just going to slide the ends down in through the grapevine. In both of the classes that I'm taking, they recommend always putting a hanger on your designs, because a lot of times the customer, they're not sure how it's supposed to hang. So with you providing this for them, there's no question. Okay, once I get this through, I'll show you what I've done. Okay, I bent that and I just created a loop. Before I twist that, I just want to make sure, yep, that's hanging just like I want it. So now I'm just going to twist the wire, I'm going to use my pliers, around that handle I just created. We can see it, but it'll be hidden with the florals. So let me just get this attached. I love coming out here and creating. And I was very nervous about doing a video, and I'm actually enjoying. So see, now we have our hanger, and it's hanging in that exact position that I wanted, just a very slight angle. And the customer can hold it by that and be able to reach it. So now I'm going to put that other piece of greenery in. And I'm going to put that in right up there. We'll also have florals that will hide the hanger. Put a little bit of my moss. Just spread that out a little. Okay, so you can see now we have created a perimeter. It's coming to here. It's like an invisible line, and it's just coming out, continuing here, and coming down a little bit longer here on the bottom. And we may end up shortening this up a little bit. Actually, I think I am going to do that. This piece just seems a little too long for me. So I'm going to take this one out. I'll show it to you in just a second. There. I like that better. Okay. So we still have a couple of pieces of the greenery left. I'm just going to put them to the side. Let's start to put in our focal flower. So what we do is we establish our perimeter by putting in our greenery. We put our 2 larger items on our wreath. We attached a hanger. Now we would go to the larger focal flower, which in this case is going to be our beautiful red geraniums. So I'm going to get some of those cut. Just want to see what the length would be. So we want it to make it look like it's coming out of our bow. So I would probably insert in about this direction. Yeah, that would be nice. Okay, so I'm going to leave these 2 together. Just going to bend it, and now it's going to go in this direction because we're above our bow and we're paying attention to our transition. So not right against the bow, but probably about 2 to 3 inches away from the bow. You get it between the vines and then wedge it down. Giving me a little resistance, which is good. Just going to put, I can see some glue, so I'm just going to put a little bit of moss on that. Okay. So we're not going beyond our perimeter. Okay, so we've got our first focal in. And because I put one there, for me as a beginner, and to keep my place and not forget, this is what I've been taught, is now I would go opposite. So I'm finding another one that has, let's see if I can find one with a double floral. And I'm not seeing one. That's okay. We can always put 2 in. For now, we'll just do the 1. And again, I'm going to just bend it slightly, just so it's not perfectly straight. We've got that one here. So I'm going to have this one come out here. But I don't want it to come beyond my perimeter that I established with my greenery. So I'm just going to cut this bottom leaf off. Make it just a little bit shorter. And I'll put it right in there. Get a little bit of glue. And slide it with the grain of the wood in the grapevine. Get my moss. Okay, and I'll show you where I put that. Let's see the glue strings. So you see we've got one up here. We came opposite on an angle, and we placed one there. And we can always come back later, and we can use these leaves that we remove if we need to, and use them as fillers if we have bare spots in our wreath. So don't throw those out. Just pulling a little bit of the glue off. Okay, I'm going to put a second one because this was 2. I'm going to put a second one down here where we place the other. I'll show it to you in just a second. See how I had 2 here? I wanted to repeat that opposite, so I've placed 2 there. Okay, we need to get some up top. Save the smaller heads for up there because usually as the geraniums are blooming, the ones that are on the top are just beginning to open. So I'm trying to keep it as close to a natural look that I can. I mean, we know they're artificial, but we still want it to look nice. Okay, and I'm just bending my floral a little bit. And I'm thinking one right between those 2 will look nice, but I'm going to just cut my stem a little bit shorter. That seemed a little too long. So in between these 2 florals, oops, that's a little loose in here. All right, let me get some moss on that. This side so you can see. Just don't like the way this leaf is sitting, so let me see if I can twist that. I don't want to cover the sign. There, that's a little better. It's okay if it's just over the edge, but I don't want it to cover. Actually, I think this one is a little too big. I'm going to actually cut this one off, and we can always glue it on there. Like we could have that coming out. I'll do that right now. So I would just put a little bit of glue, and I'm just going to go in the same area. And have it, see, it's just tucked out there on the back. Okay? Okay, we put one there, so I'm thinking I need to come across and get one over here. So we'll come along this way, and we'll get one right in here. We'll leave this a little longer because it's going up and under our bow. It's still within our perimeter, but you can see now we've got one coming out here. So we still need one more there, and then we'll use some of our other florals. I think I'd like that one to come a little more in towards the center. Let's try it again. I think that's pretty right in there. Okay. We'll come back and get some greenery in there also. Put a little bit of moss. And one more. Well, actually, we only have two more, so we'll get the two of these in. So we're coming right between these two ferns that we placed earlier. Make sure I'm making good contact with the grapevine. Get a little bit of my moss there. Let's see where we want this other one. We could have it up there, or we could get one more coming out the side here. I think I want it up there. Need to make it just a little bit shorter and fall towards the inside of the wreath. Come forward, okay? So I'm going to go right in here. Give it a wiggle so I'm making contact with the vine. Yeah. You want each of the florals to have their own space, and we've accomplished that, okay? You can see there's room around each one, making them the focal. Okay, you hold that up so you can see it. So we have it evenly dispersed. Okay. So now the next larger pieces would be, we're just going to put in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these daisies. So let me get those cut. Get my price tags off. I do save those so I can tally up my cost, so I'll be able to price my wreath. This will be in my Etsy shop by tomorrow. I'll need to take photographs, a short video of the wreath, so you know, a customer can get a better look, being that they're buying online. Okay, so I'm thinking right in here, a little shorter. Okay, got a bend. A little wiggle as you're putting it in, so it's making good contact. Get your moss ready. Okay, so we've got one daisy there, and because I put one there, I'm thinking I should come down here. Get a little moss on that, I can see it in the back. Okay, so one there, we've got one here. Pull my glue strings. I don't know if you can see those on camera. Okay, I'm thinking in this general area would give us our triangle. We could have one over here. Make this one a little short and see if we couldn't just have that right over here. Get it in and give it a bend. And put a little moss. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so I'm just applying. You can see just a little bit of moss right there where I could see that glue. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, we've got a triangle this way. Like I said, let's see, bend this one out a little further. And how about if we get that one in here? But I want it to be a little shorter. So it's creating some depth. Bend that one a little bit. Okay. Okay. Now we need to bring in our blue. These are real wispy, and it's okay if these extend past the perimeter. They're considered a filler, and that's quite all right if that happens. We're just going to create more texture and dimension. I'll get my scissor. Cut my tag off. Okay, so remember I showed you these when we first started? It's just a tiny berry, and I like that it's got another type of greenery on it. So we've added ferns, we've added the leaves from our daisy and geraniums, and now we're adding another texture with the greenery on this. Just going to give it a little bend, not too much, but a little bit. See how much that opened up. And I think I'd like to come in right here. Oops. I would like to take this opportunity, if you're watching this video, if you wouldn't subscribe to my channel, that would be wonderful. Hit the red button. That'll alert you when I've posted a new video. If you're enjoying this and you think that's something that you would like to do, I would appreciate it. And also hit the like and share button. You may want to take the opportunity. I would love it if you would comment below and give me some feedback as to how you think I'm doing. Have I been clear in my instruction? Do you think this is something that you would like to try? I put one there. I'm going to come over here. Get one coming out here. I would so appreciate your feedback. I do have a few people that have been watching me, and I'm so thankful for them and all their feedback. Excuse me. I do have some other videos here on YouTube inspired by my angel, CLM. Maybe you'd like to take a look at those. I've done some other designs. You can let me know if I'm improving on my videos. I can only hope with more experience I will get better each time. Because as I said, I do enjoy doing this. I love to come out. I work in my utility shed. I've set it up. It's not the best space, but it's somewhere for me to work. I'm enjoying it. And I'm limited on space as my videos are a little tight together here. Unavoidable with the space that I'm working with. I put that one in right there. Can you see that right here? It's giving it a little movement. If you wouldn't mind, check out my Etsy shop. You can see some of the other designs that I've created on my journey. I've got about 100 items in my store. And if you do take the time to look, if you wouldn't mind hitting the heart button and favoriting my shop, and that will let you know when I put new items in. And it would also help me grow as a new small business owner. Okay, so now I placed another one there. And you can see these are not flat. Can you see how that's coming away from the wreath? That's what we want to accomplish. We're doing it. Okay, so we've got a little blue, blue, blue. I think we could use a piece right over here. It's not a real large wreath because the sign isn't that large. So what I'm building this on is a 14-inch grapevine. So we don't want to overwhelm it with too many florals. We need enough. You want it to be full and lush, not like some of the things you would buy at Michael's or Joann's. A nicer quality with more style. Sets us apart from the large retail stores when you are crafting yourself, designing. I think that looks pretty. We've got that dispersed nicely. I've got one more piece and I'm going to bring it in down here. Let's see. So you can see where I'm thinking. I've got one piece here, so I'm thinking just to bring it over on the end. Once I get that in, I'll show you. Push that in a little bit further. It's a little too long. Actually, I'm going to take that out and cut that a little shorter. That was too long. That's one thing about doing this. You put something in, you don't like it, it's no big deal. Just pull it out. So we don't have to be afraid. Okay, I'll show you where I placed that. You can see that right here. Well, it's just wispy. Okay, we've got the white filler I'd like to go back in with. Put some things a little closer to the wreath, giving it a little more dimension. So I'm going to use these berries. Again, I'm just going to give them a bend. Just where I see holes, I just want to come in and put that to fill in. Okay? Come in up here. I put one there, so I'm going to come down here. Got one in here. Don't want to neglect the sides. Need to come in over here. Just creating another texture, brightening it. I think I'd like to come out here. Okay, let's stand back, take a look at it so you can see where you may need some more. I think I need to come in right down here. Sometimes when you're right up close to it, you can't see. So just take the time to step back and take a look. Oops. See how that's brightening it? Getting our true red, white, and blue for our patriotic wreath, which will just make an absolutely gorgeous summer wreath. Good for Memorial Day. Of course, the 4th of July, Flag Day. But this will just be so nice, just hanging on the door all spring and summer. Making it very versatile. Okay, I want to get one coming out here. Sometimes you have to be a little bit of a contortionist to get these stems in. There we go. constantly fiddling with my bow. You'll find if you start doing this, you'll find yourself doing the same thing. And pulling like this all the time is pulling off glue strings. Okay, I feel like we need a little more in there. Get some up here. That filled that in nicely. I think I want to get some right here on the inside. It's looking a little dark right in there. Yeah, that'll look nice. Put some in there. Just move the leaves out of the way. Right there behind the bow. I have another short piece of that greenery. I'm going to go ahead and add that in there also. Remember we had saved some? So I'm just going to lift those leaves and push this in. You see that right here? Just filled in that area. Got blueberry or white berries and a little bit more greenery. Let me see if I can put our sign on, if you'll be able to see it. Has a little on-off switch, if I can find it. There it is. Can you see that? Just that little glow right over the American flag. I just love that. I just think that is the neatest thing. I know it's not showing up that well on camera, but it really does look nice. Really, really nice. Different. Okay, I'm just kind of taking a look to see if there's any other place that we may need some florals, but I mean, I think it came out nice and full. Maybe down here. I've got some ribbon tails there. No, I don't think I need it there. Maybe one more piece coming out here, but I think that'll be it. Somebody walking up to the door in the evening, that's going to look so pretty. What would have been even better if it was on a timer, but it's not. You'd have to manually switch it on and off. And it just has batteries, which I've placed and will sell with the wreath. Try to move that wreath a little so that shows up a little bit more. Okay, so what I'll need to do is go over the wreath and cover any glue that I may not have gotten while we were creating this, and take photos, a small video, and get it listed in my Etsy shop in time for this to adorn someone's door for Memorial Day. Okay. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this, and as I said, if you wouldn't mind sharing, liking, commenting. Most importantly, give me some feedback as to how you liked it, what you think I could do, and if it's at all possible, I will. I had one lady, very nice. She just said that, you know, it was kind of, I was up close and my head got in the way. I hope I was able to stay out of your way. I became very aware of that, and I'm trying to remedy it. But as I told her, unfortunately, my space is limited. So, I mean, anything like that, I mean, I really would appreciate that so much. I'm going to just shut one light off here, just so you can see that sign a little bit better. Oh, where that's lit and it's lighting up that American flag. Love it. Okay, well, I'm going to shut that light off. You can really see that. That will be very pretty approaching someone's door. Okay, well, I'm going to say goodbye for today. I want to say thank you so much for watching my video. Please check out my shop, Inspired by My Angel CLM. Give it a like. If you think there's items that others would like, share my page with them. Also, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for coming along with me on my newfound journey. And until I do my next video, I will say goodbye, and everyone have a very happy Easter. Bye now.